planned for 1026, and I'm super excited for the work behind engaging families. They have spent hours trying to engage not only Native American.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's regular board meeting for Monday, January 12th, 2026. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please, Ann.
Sarah Schubert-Hone. Here. Catherine Gaman.
Here.
Kelly Mullen. Here. President Steve Olson.
Here.
And Laura Gapsky, I see as virtual.
So thank you.
Here. Okay.
And Mr. Schumacher and Mr. Olson are excused. Yes, thank you. We have met compliance with all official notification. At this time, I would ask that we have two special guests here this evening from Cooper, two students, Kendall Staria and Marquette Smith, and they are going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
You guys want to come on up here?
To the front.
Okay, come on back here.
Stand like right. There we go.
And here's the flag right
There,
there.
your face. Flag.
There you go.
Sorry. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job.
Thank you so
Good
very
job.
much. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education held in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for comments by members of the public during the meeting as indicated on the agenda. Members of the public wishing to address the board on any of the topics included on tonight's agenda may do so by signing up on the public comment sign-up sheet by the entrance prior to the start of the meeting. The board requests refraining from making any comments involving personally identifiable information about students, staff, or administration. Comments should be respectful, focused on the items being considered by the board, and will be restricted to 3 minutes in length. Or do we have any comments by members of our public, Ann?
No.
Thank you. Disposition of minutes from December 8th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the minutes from December 8th, 2025. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on our agenda is a report from our superintendent.
Okay, I have two informational items tonight. Our first informational item is a presentation from Cooper Elementary School. That's you.
You can stay right. Okay. So my name is Christine Steria. I'm the principal at Cooper. And today I've got Kendall Steria with me and Marquette Smith. So they are actually going to start us off. We've got a lot of fun, exciting things going on at Cooper. So they're going to start us off by going over a few of the fun things that they wanted to talk about tonight. Yeah. So the fourth and fifth graders maybe.
They both did that. Wait, did they team? They could team up and they walk around the school so everyone could see most of the floats. The next box has trunk or treat. So if you don't go trick or treating, you can. If you go to Cooper after school, then you can do trunk or treat, which also has free food with the dance party. The last box, the second to last box is our like working thing.
Oh, wait, no, you're on the movie one. Is the one that you wanted to do?
Oh.
The PTA.
Oh yeah, I got them. The last one is for the PTA. The second to last one is the PTA got the popcorn and they got drinks. And the movie was Monsters Inc. And there was drinks and popcorn.
And our last one.
Miss Theory comes around and if you like work, if you get all the letters colored in, then you get extra recess with Miss Theory.
Nice. Very nice.
So was it, so I can do the rest of it.
Thank you.
It's hard to follow that up, but we do have a lot of amazing things to celebrate at Cooper. Made some really good gains on our report card, so the teachers and the staff have been working really hard, and it showed this year on our report card. Our celebration of giving was phenomenal, so we do that each year with coincides with our holiday concert that we have in December. So we raise money, the kids make crafts, and then we sell that, and it all goes back to the community for buying gifts and giving back to families in need that need it. And we were able to raise over $5,000. So we give a lot of that to CASDA. We support the local areas with that. Our fifth grade is currently at Starbase again. So they left today. Today was their first day going back to Starbase, and it sounds like it was a phenomenal day. They came in hot at 3:15, so I didn't get to see them for too long. But the teacher said that it was off to a really great start, and the kids were loving it.
Can you remind them what Starbase is?
Oh, sorry. So Starbase is where I had applied to be able to have our fifth graders go last year. So that's where our fifth grade goes to the Air Force Base in Duluth, and they get to learn all kinds of STEM activities. So they really dive right in. It is so hands-on. The kids get to do experiments, get to learn all different career options that would be in the science field. And one of those days I get to go up and see what they're doing. So I'm going to try to sneak away for a little bit tomorrow and check out what they're doing. But it's a lot of hands-on learning, which is a great opportunity for our students. We were very fortunate. I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to get in again this year. It's really
Mostly a Minnesota program.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I had seen it when I was at Piedmont in Duluth, and I took a shot in the dark and we were able to get in. So we've also had a lot of improvements in our PLCs. I feel like this is our strongest year yet for PLCs. Our shared leadership team has put a lot of focus on making really commonized data collection, and we're really focusing on math and reading, which has been a little bit of a feat for especially with the new reading curriculum, but teachers have definitely stepped up to the challenge. So we've got bi-weekly where teachers are collecting that data, reviewing it as a team. 1 week they're doing math, and then the next week they're doing reading. So we're taking turns and really diving in to see what we need to focus on to meet the individual needs of our students in both areas. And because of that, I've seen a great increase in our math and reading instruction. Reading, obviously, we're learning the new curriculum, and I will say it is going a lot smoother. It took, with anything new that you start, it's going to take a little while to get things going. And it is really, the teachers have hit a groove now, which is feeling really good. Our math instruction, one thing that I've been looking for in my walkthroughs and as I'm meeting with teachers is I want to see more productive struggle for math. I want to see the kids trying to work through that, and just the conversations that we've been able to have as teams and as teachers, and bringing in the special education teachers into that conversation has been awesome. And it's been fun seeing the collaboration with the kids and all the gains that they're making. It's been a fun year so far. So hopefully that continues. Some challenges. we have an increase in students that have higher needs. So I've been working with the teachers. We've been collaborating on just trying to think outside of the box on different ways that we can meet those needs. Amy and Dina have been a huge help in that as well. So collaborating with them on what we can do to meet those needs of those students. And then we just have a small group, which I feel like we're pretty fortunate, but we have a small group of students that we're really trying to figure out how to increase their attendance. So working with the family, working with the community, working with Carrie Hennessy to try to figure out how we can get those kids in the seats more. It's not a large group, so I'm fortunate with that, but every job matters and trying to figure out how we can get every single kid there as often as possible. So then I've got my CPR card linked. Thank God for Anne, because I was like, I don't know how I'm going to click that. So here I have it broken down into, I've been meeting with the shared leadership team on what we can do, or if we're staying on our timeline. So I'm sure everybody else says this too, but green means that we've accomplished it. Yellow means that we are working that way. And then red would mean that we haven't started. And everything we are working towards. So like that biweekly data for the PLCs, that's going to be all year though. So we're keeping that going. And then as a shared leadership, we talked about, we knew that math needed to be a focus. And although we wanted to also respect that teachers were going to need to put a lot of time and energy into reading, we talked about, okay, what can we focus on right now though in math? So we talked about getting that, make sure that that quick practice and those daily routines are being done with fidelity in every classroom. And so I've been walking around and observing that. And also that's been brought into our PLCs as well as we're talking about how kids are mastering that. And then with the manipulatives and building on those concepts, we branched off a little bit on there with also emphasizing the need for that productive struggle. Having the kids, if it's a challenge, that's okay. We're going to try to give them some time, give kids time to collaborate, have it be a little bit more of the teacher stepping back and having the kids try to problem solve that. And then, as I have said since my very first year at Cooper, family and community partnership is a top priority, and I think it's something that we excel at Cooper. Our PTA is a phenomenal organization that we team up with and make sure that we're getting those families in the door. We've got volunteer opportunities. We really make sure that we're bridging that community between school and community. And then I think that's all I have though. Thanks, Anne. Mm-hmm. And I know that it was in the last time they presented, my goal looked a lot like we are going to go from blank percent to blank percent. So I did include that now. One thing, it was a great thing that we looked at when we got that initial data, that we actually have 80% of our kids that are already at or above that 25th percentile. So when I sat down with Amy and we were talking about why was the bar at 25th percentile then? Well, that's because that's where our reading plans. That's what constitutes if a kid needs a reading plan or not. So our initial thought was, well, we want kids not to need a reading plan. We want them above that. So with that being said, I think, we could definitely raise the bar, and we have outside of this goal. We're looking at, we want those kids at grade level. 25th percentile is not always at grade level. We would like to see 40th percentile and above, but we would like to see 85% of our students in reading at or above that 25th percentile. And then in math, like we had noticed that we have some work to do in math. And so we have 73% of our kids testing at or above the 25th percentile. And when we talked about for this first year and for trying to navigate what we're going to do to increase our math scores, we upped it to 78. I was looking at the data. We're in the thick of doing that winter benchmark testing right now. So I don't have gains that we've made right now. I was kind of trying to look through Edge Climber and see what I can find, but it's not going to be accurate for you quite yet until I get all that data in. But from what I can see, we're making some good gains. So that's all that I have. Any questions for myself or the girls?
Not necessarily no question, but the PLC time, I guess it is a question. So weekly time, 30 minutes in the morning or an hour, or
Yep.
What's your structure at Cooper?
So it's about 45 minutes to an hour. It is weekly on Thursdays. And I did that because before I had it where it was Tuesdays or Thursdays, and they chose the date. But with Sarah Barnes is with us 2 days a week, and to make sure that she could be a part of that collaboration, we have all gone to Thursdays so that she can be a part of those conversations.
She's the EMLSS teacher there.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Give
I
some
know.
background
I know,
information.
that's okay.
But there is like fourth grade, sometimes they will adjust it to another, they're my one that kind of adjusted to a different day. But otherwise it's going really well. And I will say with our EMLSS, we have Emily Sherrill who supports K through 5. And then we also have Sarah Barnes who is assisting as well. We get her 2 days a week. And last year she was mostly with kindergarten and first grade. And this year we've kind of expanded her to a little bit more. So she's actually providing a few enrichment opportunities for fifth grade too. She has a half hour out of those 2 days where she's trying to do some enrichment opportunities for them too, to still, trying to meet the needs of every kid and push a little bit more too. So.
And I would say PLCs are probably the most common action item, common thread for all of our schools' CPR cards. And I think a lot of principals have been focusing on that. And as I've been doing observations this year, I've been sitting in some of those PLC meetings and grade level meetings. So I've been able to go to Northern Lights and Bryant, their data meetings. So we all come to Cooper.
And then I will say off of this, but that did remind me, one thing that Amy implemented this year helped give us a nudge, because we've been talking about it for a couple of years now, was making more of a PLC opportunity for principals at the elementary level. We don't, we've got an amazing team, a strong team, but it's, you don't know what you don't know when you're not in each other's buildings. And Amy had blocked out chunks of time, like sign up to go into other people's buildings. So it's been a lot of fun to actually get in to Northern Lights and collaborate. I'm like, man, my math instruction, I want to see, I want an area of this that I can actually bring back and talk to the teachers about. And I got over to Northern Lights and was able to get in the classrooms and see what some of those teachers were doing, and had people come to Cooper. So it's been nice sharing those ideas, and everybody's got amazing things that's going on. So it's nice to share that.
You hit on my other comment.
Oh, great.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Much.
Thank you, students.
Girls, thank you very much for being here tonight. And
Great job.
you don't need to stay for the rest of the meeting. You don't want to. Yeah. Well, thanks, Mom. All right.
You want to introduce our students?
Here, next up, we have our student representatives, Brendan and Veronica, are here for our Superior High School update.
So we have some recent events for just the general Superior High School, and then we have some student council specific news for you. So in recent events, DECA just had their districts at UW Stout. We had a lot of students earn medals and did very well there. Just a quick shout out to Davin Britton, whose team won the U18 National Curling Championship. And they won 5-4 and against Team Grabow in the final round. Winter sports are in full swing, with wrestling hosting their Spartan Classic meet last week. Beckett Selden won first place, had the most pins, and was named MVP. Mackenzie Welch won first place in the girls division for the Spartan Classic. Hockey, both teams, the boys and girls, had wins on the road this weekend. And dance had their showcase last week as well. For some swimming updates, Aiden Pagnucci broke the team record for the 100-meter backstroke with a time of 57.21 seconds. So some pretty strong accomplishments from our Spartans in sports this last couple of weeks.
I would say another highlight is the Student Athlete Leadership Council. I'm sure you guys have touched on that, but I attended one last Friday, and so far it's been super positive. I've seen a lot of positive feedback from those students and a lot of participation. I mean, I don't know how many students want to get up at 6:30 in the morning and get to school and just sit in the pack, but a lot of people are very passionate about it, and we have a lot of good coaches and teachers that want to be there. And so I think that it's a really good positive change to get this athletic community to also be a part of something bigger. So I would say that that's something really, really good.
So moving over to our student council specific news. This last month, we met with Superintendent Starzecki and discussed some of the results of the Bright Ideas contest I hosted and the Student Voice Committee hosted. The main two concerns were bathroom vandalism and then substance use. So we're currently working on getting some things implemented to curb both of those things.
Have you met with Mr. Harrelson yet about that?
We have not.
Okay, I mean, he's like still very
Yeah,
new, so I
he's
was just
very-
curious,
he's
yeah,
very
like,
good.
yeah,
But we're planning on it.
Okay, good.
Soon
Alright.
enough, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got into groups, we talked about this kind of stuff, and then a lot of us had very similar ideas of like what we can fix and what problems that are just like surrounded in our high school. Another thing that we concluded was Frost Fest, the last school week of December. Events like the gingerbread contest were hosted, and then along with the assembly. There was a decent amount of people at the gingerbread contest. There were about 16, so not as many as we would have liked, but still a decent like form of participation. And the assembly went pretty all right as well. Decent participation as well. But overall, it was a pretty good week with like dress up participation along with students and staff. So pretty positive.
Yeah, we've worked hard to try and give students the opportunity to stay involved with things in the high school this year. And kind of touching on that again, we're sending out a survey for what sports competition students would like to see, just as an after-school event, something to do with their friends, go out, have fun for a night, get some friendly competition in. So we're going to see what gym space we have available in the next coming months. I know it's going to be really busy with winter sports, but we're planning on doing a fun night of competition sometime soon.
Yeah, examples of that are like our powder buff that we hosted for homecoming. We've talked about dodgeball. We've done a dodgeball competition in the past. We have also been talking about badminton or something along
Yep.
those lines. So just trying to increase the different types of competition and activities, and then also more activities like our gingerbread contest to hit all of those student body areas. Another thing that we are working on is our next Spirit Week, which is scheduled for February the 16th through the 20th. It is going to be called Sparty Gras. So Mardi Gras themed kind of dress up days, and there will be an assembly also following. So more information to touch on that when we have more dress up ideas and events planned for that as well.
We're hoping that if things go well and we can get the space, the sports competition would be the week of Sparty Gras. And then we are working on some fundraising going into 2026. That was one of the things that we really wanted to focus on, and we have some ideas lined up. Going to sell flowers the week before Valentine's Day is something that you can buy for a friend or buy for a boyfriend or girlfriend there. And we're planning on holding a silent auction the week of Valentine's Day with items donated from businesses in the community. And then there is currently a form in the works to do some Super One grocery bagging. So we're waiting on approval for that.
And then kind of our last thing is we are planning a donut stress event. So we are going to do some of that, and we're going to give out donuts during ACT week or during like AP week for testing. And we just want to kind of let the students know we're with you. We're all feeling the same stress. And so just kind of have them come together and have a stress-free moment before obviously this time of year gets really, really busy. And I think that we forget that we all also need breaks. So we're just waiting on a donation form to be signed so that we can get those donuts and have a little small get-together event.
So that's all the events that we had to share with you as the board. Is there anything else that you would like to know about?
So the Sparty Gras should have a competition with Mr. Smith sitting here. I thought of this. Have the history department go against the English department, the biology department go against.
coming from the guy who doesn't have to organize it.
Former student council president. And then encouraging them to dress up that week too.
Oh, for sure.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Be on the planning
I know.
committee. Yeah, you can come in and plan with us.
I'm curious around the two issues you've identified at the high school, like how are you all or your peers like involved in solving that problem?
So that's something the Student Voice Committee, which is new to Student Council this year, we've worked on doing some outreach. We've sent out forms and some response activities to advisories. So the first form that we sent out was asking, what are the issues that you see in the high school? And those are the top two that we've identified. And then we sent another form out to all of the advisory teachers, and they did a quick advisory lesson on a Friday with coming up with some possible solutions to that.
Awesome.
So not just saying what we think will work, but getting it from the students. What do you think will motivate your peers to stay away from those things?
And I would say when we met, that was the bulk of our conversation, is they felt very strongly about the solutions needed to come from students and not just the adults. I heard that loud and clear.
And I'll add that along with that, one of our ideas, and we talked with you about that, is making like PSA videos. So we began filming them. We have a couple of them filmed about just like not hanging out in the bathrooms and, you know, the just substance abuse issue and things like that. And so they're not posted yet. We're working with Smart and Spin to get the works with that. And so then we're going to post that out on social media and things like that. So hopefully soon we can get that out to students as well.
And then one just quick thing to add, we also talked about some things that we thought were really positive in the high school going forward, or going into the new year. Student participation is up. I think that's been a trend throughout the year. Just having more opportunities is just gonna keep that trend going. Mr. Haroldson, we're reacting very well to him joining us at the high school. He's been very present around, definitely a friendly face in the halls.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. We do have one action item, consideration of an overnight field trip request from Marshall Disroot for students in grades 6 through 8 to attend Eagle Bluff ELC in Lanesboro, Minnesota from February 24 to 27 of 2026.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the overnight field trip. Marshall, anything you would like to add? I mean, the form was very explicit. You know, we know what's going on. So this is something we're doing every year with the group, or?
That's the plan, is to do it every year. It's been a few years since I've taken kids down there. Dave Jensen and I took a group down there, I think it was 2018. And then I've had opportunities with summer programming through UWS to take kids as well.
Who's going with you?
As far as teachers, Katie Pearson is one. Andrea Rugg is the parent that works in my room most of the time. And then Tim Mengersall, I'm trying to convince as well. It'll depend on the other kids that I vote, because what we're trying to do is match up adults that have good relationships with the kids that are.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but yes, hopefully it'll be any. I used to work down there, so I've got a good relationship with the people that do all the scheduling. And they're very good about being flexible with our group, because our group doesn't necessarily meet the same requirements that everything else is, and that, you know, we do things a little bit differently.
I'm seeing for transportation that you guys are gonna do rental vans. Do we have any policy for who drives those vans?
Yes. You want more than that?
Yeah.
Molly and David can probably answer that.
Yeah, so we have a vehicle use requirements agreement that employees have to sign off on, and then HR verifies that they have a valid driver's license.
Okay.
And then we keep that updated as.
It gets sent into insurance, so we're covered.
Yeah, and then I work with Patent Transportation so that he gets them on the district insurance.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any issues getting vans?
No, not yet. I'm shopping that around and trying to get some deals with that as well.
That's good. Well, it looks like a great opportunity for our students and the staff, staff that are going. Excellent people going with you. Is there any further discussion? Concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll move to our board committee reports. Operations Committee. We had an informational item from Dan Whitaker, our new Director of Information and Technology. Very thorough presentation on behalf of Dan, and we really look forward to him being our director and moving our district forward in that area. I'd accept a motion for the Operations Committee.
Motion to accept the Operations Committee report. A second.
Motion second to accept the Operations Committee report. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Policies and Rules Committee, action item, administration proposes the approval of changes to the following policies based on Neola recommendations. This is the second reading of policy 7540.08, artificial intelligence.
Make a motion to accept the Policies and Rules Committee report.
Motion and a second to accept the second reading of the policy 7540.08, artificial intelligence. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And now a motion to accept the entire report.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Motion to accept the Policies and Rules Committee report.
Second.
Motion and second to accept the Policies and Rules Committee report. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Personnel Negotiations Committee, action items. Administration recommends approval of the updated January 2026 new hirees and separations report.
Motion to approve.
There's a motion and a second to accept the updated new hirees and separations report for January of 2026. Is there any further discussion? You'll see in red that 3 names were added, 1 resignation and 2 new hirees. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Administration recommends accepting the resignation and relieving Stephen Guston, Director of Buildings and Grounds, from his 25-26 school year contract per his request, effective January 8, 2026, with the liquidated damages provision waived.
Motion to approve.
Motion the second to approve the resignation. Is there any further discussion?
Molly, can you kind of talk through what's going to happen with that position?
Yep, so we're gonna be posting it tomorrow. And in the interim, we have another director, Jamie Wilson, who's gonna help out and kind of oversee the operational pieces of the department and work with the 2 supervisors that are in that department, as far as overseeing employees. And then hopefully we'll have it posted for a few weeks and get some candidates to interview over there.
So we talked about bringing back a former person in that role. Has that been talked about any further, or?
That would just be like as a consultant to do some of the background pieces of safety and other legal aspects like the Four Corners Pond and stuff. So that wouldn't be managing any of the staff. So.
Well, thank you to Jamie for stepping into that role.
Yes.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to accept the Personnel and Negotiations Committee report.
Second.
Motion and a second to accept the Personnel Negotiations Committee report. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Budget Insurance Committee, action items, gifts, grants, and bequests. Administration recommends approval to accept gifts, grants, and bequests received in December of 2025.
Motion to approve.
And a second to approve the gifts, grants, and bequests for December 2025. Is there any further discussion? On behalf of the board, thank you very much for the donations. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Open enrollment, administration recommends 60 spaces for general education open enrollment and 0 spaces for special education enrollment for the 2026-27 school year.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and second to approve the recommended 60 spaces general education, 0 spaces special education for 2026-27 enrollment. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Informational items. We have created a resource. The administration has created a resource for board members that outlines the annual budget development process. This will be placed on the district website.
So one of the things we heard from board members as I was working with some of you one-on-one this fall and winter was more information around, building your capacity around school finance. And this was a tool that I thought might be helpful for even as new board members come on, sort of like the calendar and the calendaring we've done in the past, so you know what to expect. So this is intended to be a resource, so you kind of know what to expect in the months ahead and how David and I sort of tackle our budget throughout the year.
Great.
And putting it on the website so our public can see that.
The other thing too, Amy, when you off on the weekly updates, the WASB 101 school finance.
Yeah.
Finance and stuff, having the ability to get into that whole process and take a look at exactly what WASB is saying and how that aligns with everything that David's been saying and everybody else in the school district. So that was a great tool.
Yeah, I am not all the way through the webinar series yet, I'm about halfway through, but what I've seen so far has been good information for board members, so.
And then the information from Mr. Rossmeiler also.
Yeah.
It was excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, also an informational item, David C., our Chief Financial and Operations Officer, provided the update on the school district tax levy at the committee of the whole meeting on January 5, 2026. We also reviewed the Fund 10 revenue and expenditure preliminary reports. And all of that, you have the ability, if you're watching or go online, to click on each one of the attachments.
I will make a motion to accept the budget and insurance committee report.
Second.
Motion is second to accept the Budget Insurance Committee report. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Discussion items from the Legislative Committee, WASB Delegate Assembly and Resolutions. Laura presented us with some information about the resolutions that are going to come up at the WASB convention next week. She had the booklet. We've had the opportunity to take a look at them and stuff. So if there's any questions between now and then of next week, Tuesday, at some point, Tuesday evening, and then Wednesday, she'll be going. Shelley, who's our second? I'm sorry. It is Shelley. That questions about any of the resolutions that we reach out to them because they'll be voting on behalf of us. And it's not a very big list for once. All right, is there a motion to accept our committee report?
Make a motion to accept the legislative committee report.
Second.
Motion is second to accept the legislative committee report. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Teaching and Learning Committee and informational items at the committee of the whole meeting on January 5, 2026. Dina Hagan, Director of Special Education and Student Services, provided a special education department update for us. Again, you can click on the attachment and take a good look at that. It was a very thorough presentation again by Dina. Tonight we do have two presentations. First, Jennifer Willoughby, our Director of Early Childhood and Family Education, about 4K enrollment and Get Kids Ready program.
Good evening.
Jen?
So 4K enrollment starts in February. We always start the first February, of every year. So February 3rd will be when we kick off our registration this year for 4K. Website's already updated and ready to go. Families have been reaching out with questions and it's kind of par for the course. That's pretty standard this time of year. I wanted to share some information though about a new program called Get Kids Ready. This program was part of the governor's biennial budget, and it's put out through, the funding is all funneled through DCF, Department of Children and Families. So Get Kids Ready is a preschool program that is intended to support childcare centers for 4-year-olds who will be going to kindergarten the next year. So just some bullet point information about this. It's very similar to our 4K program at the district level. So children must be 4 by September 1st to be eligible for Get Kids Ready. They're required to offer 437 hours of instruction, just like we offer. The biggest difference is that the Get Kids Ready teacher does not have to have a teaching license. They just need an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree in anything. It doesn't even have to be early childhood. So, let's see. The other big important piece of information is that those providers that are offering Get Kids Ready cannot have a contract with the school district to offer 4K. So they cannot have both pieces in place. Children, however, can be enrolled in both programs. So in working with the YMCA, we have a pretty great relationship with a lot of collaboration already. And in talking with them about this opportunity for Get Kids Ready, they have decided to end their contract with the school district for the 26-27 school year for 4K. They'll finish out this school year to June. But going into next year, they will not hold a 4K contract because they're going to offer Get Kids Ready at all of our elementary buildings, or as many of our elementary buildings that they can support. In preparation for that, we pushed out an interest survey to families in December to just kind of gain some feedback and some interest to see how many families are we talking about that would be interested in doing this. Is it feasible to look at offering this at every one of our elementary buildings? You know, can we do this? We had 107 responses within that month, and every single one of them said yes, they want it. So we have a lot of families out there who are very interested. So what this means for families, they could attend 4K for half the day, let's say a morning program at Cooper. I'll use Cooper as an example. They could attend morning Cooper 4K and they would stay right at the building and they would attend Cooper Get Kids Ready, which would be.
So it's a full day program for families and they don't pay a fee.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's free for families. I guess I didn't say that at the beginning. $65 million was pushed out for funding to support this. So families don't pay for any of that. Kids stay for the full school day. The Get Kids Ready would be taught by YMCA staff, so we don't have any of that cost added for us to provide staffing for that program. They're just going to be in our buildings.
So we provide the classroom.
Correct.
We have the capacity then in each one of the buildings to offer the program.
We've reduced sections in all of our elementary schools, which has been able to free up classroom space for this.
Feeling pretty confident that we can find space. The one school I was most concerned about was Great Lakes, and in talking with Brian and Dave prior to break, they both feel like we can find a space, we can make it work. We haven't gotten into the nitty gritty of logistics for space yet at any of the buildings. But
So all 5 elementary schools. Okay.
Does this have any financial impact for the district to not
Yes.
be?
That's revenue we won't have. Well, but that's also revenue we're not getting for the Y program, correct? Or no?
correct.
Right.
Yeah. This year they only have 6 children.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
not a huge revenue hit on that end. But there is potential for more students to attend our school sites who otherwise would have gone to childcare locations.
I gotta give credit to Jen on this,
Mhm.
because when this first came out, this was really, really bad for most districts. Jen was able to figure out a way that could really turn out to be a real positive, because we're offering full day free busing, which is going to,
And childcare. Yeah. I mean, it's
gonna give us
yeah.
an advantage over all these other places. So it's
It's really positive for families who have needed this, you know.
And so do you see it as a way of like getting students and families into our
Mhm.
schools?
Mhm.
So it's a kind of a recruitment.
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Many districts are looking at losing students
Great.
with no way to recoup them.
The revenue hit already took this year where I lost that contract. That's
Mhm.
so it's like actually some of it. So this is a really good.
So how many daycares or other institutions in the area in Superior are not partnering with us then, do you know?
So, yep, so the only outside partner we will continue to have is Cathedral. I did approach them to see if they were interested in Get Kids Ready also, and just due to their own private school requirements and things, they said, nope, we're happy with 4K. We want to keep things the way they are. There are 4, I think, licensed childcare centers within Superior. And maybe five that do not partner with us. Many years ago, they did, way back when we first started. The biggest challenge, I think, for childcare centers has always been staff. And that eventually every one of them has fallen back.
So in the past, the Y has kind of struggled to provide employees for their before school program. Do they think that they're going to be able to handle this?
They do, primarily because of the merger. So the merger now with Duluth, they were required to change their fees in Superior to align with Duluth.
You mean their
Or their
salaries?
salaries,
Yeah.
excuse me, and so that would increase quite a bit. So they are feeling optimistic that they're gonna be able to get the staff, because again, the challenge with finding staff has always been,
Okay.
just,
And part of the challenge with the before and after school, well, they really just do the before, is just that short period of time before school. You know, that's a hard.
yep, and in talking with them too, they're excited about this, because if they can find somebody to work Get Kids Ready, that person will then also just stay at the school for the morning. So they'll be here for the morning before school program, they'll do Get Kids Ready, it'll just transition and extend their day, so. There is also potential that we could offer 2 sections of Get Kids Ready, just like we offer 2 sections of 4K at the schools, just depending, again, it's all gonna depend on the numbers of kids that we have who want this.
Will they be able to attend the before school and after school program? Okay. And they will eat lunch at the school?
Yep.
Correct. And ride the bus?
Mhm.
Okay.
For free. Except for probably the before school program they have to pay for.
They would pay for before and after school.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
if they
right,
attended that.
Yeah.
Yep, correct. But half-day cost or full-day cost of daycare versus
Right.
a small amount that they would pay for before and after school care is
Mhm.
gonna be a huge savings for families.
So does that mean they're sharing classrooms, they're sharing supplies, they're sharing everything? Or that hasn't been really worked out yet?
So there would be essentially 2 classrooms at every building that are designated for preschool. So at Cooper, for example, you'd have a 4K classroom that has a morning and an afternoon classroom, or morning and afternoon section with 1 teacher. And across the hall, you'd have the Get Kids Ready classroom
Okay.
with a morning, potentially an afternoon,
And they just switch.
and the kids would just flip flop. Now, obviously, there will be kids in our programs that don't want Get Kids Ready, and that's okay. They can just come for, a half day section that they've been doing, which will make accommodations for that, so. Any questions? Any other questions for me?
No, thank you for answering.
Okay.
Thank you. Next, back in her role. Kate Test, Director of Continuous Improvement and Assessment.
I am here with kind of our first big update from our new strategic plan. So I did a brief kind of recap of our strategic plan slideshow, but the main bulk of my communication tonight is around the specific scorecard. So just a couple refreshers on our strategic plan. We worked on last year, our mission and our vision, ensuring our superior learning experience, empowering every student for life. You've heard from principals, they are doing such a nice job of really doing the work that they're doing every year, but really making the connection to the new strategic plan and working through their CPR cards, like you saw Christine's and Cooper's tonight, with the real action steps and monitoring those throughout the year. So again, just kind of grounding us in the strategic plan, the commitments we're making, and our pillars that are supporting the work that we're doing. So we created our strategic plan scorecard. So throughout the work with Joe Schrader, our consultant, as we created our strategic plan, we worked through metrics that as a board, you're going to get updates on twice a year was kind of what we agreed upon, kind of a January update and an end of the year update with pieces of data that we're tracking over time, kind of as a dashboard. He used a few analogies, and the dashboard in your car, just different metrics that you're just tracking, not necessarily good or bad, just information that can help us as we are monitoring our growth as a district and our healthy, our health and our livelihood. So I had shared with you kind of this overview. Anne, can you click on that graphic that it should open the one? Oh, you have it. Great. Perfect. Thank you. So prepped. And then the plus sign on that picture is the best way to see it a little bigger. So as we kind of kick off our scorecard, the hard part right now is that we're in the middle of a year. So some of our data is from last year still, and some of our data we have from fall. So I tried to use as current of information as we could. And a lot of this information I shared with you in my fall report in December with the achievement data, those pieces, because they're old at this point from last spring, but I wanted to make sure and also add them in here. So originally we did not have a benchmark column, but we felt like it was important to get a start on here and put some information into the scorecard. So our first pillar, student engagement, growth, and achievement, the metrics that we are reporting on, of course, just like when I share information with you, it's often hard because at every grade level, there are important benchmarks, and then that becomes really overwhelming. So our big kind of checkpoints are 2nd, 4th, 8th, and then our ACT, which is our 11th grade benchmark. So we've got percentage in our student achievement pillar. We have our metrics are really around 2nd grade math. So we started with math. Math is a huge focus, as you're aware. The first one is our FastBridge math composite, and that's a fall data point. So we tried to use the most recent, which would be from fall. And we're looking at the percentage of students meeting the benchmark or scoring higher. So 2nd grade, 4th grade, 8th grade, and then the ACT composite score. So we have percentage of students meeting, and then the ACT composite score is on a scale of 1 to 36. And that's our average composite score in math for all of our juniors taking the ACT from last spring. So the ELA follows the same pattern. So we have 2nd grade FastBridge composite from this fall, and then 4th, 8th, and our ACT composite score. And again, my presentation in December is giving you like the historical trends and different groups of kids. This is really meant to then give us a snapshot. So this spring, we will add the 25-26 AC, we'll keep updating this as we go along. It's a little lonely right now, but we do have information in there. So then as I go down, and you made that nice and big, thank you. Our student belonging and engagement. So our 2 metrics, the first one is the attendance of students who are attending 90% of their total days. So we talk a lot about attendance. You hear about attendance from principals. And so that I think is a really important metric to track. It's a hard one to solve the attendance. But I think it's important as a community and as a school district that we're looking at the percent of our students who are in attendance 90% of total days. So I think what that's also important is if students move in, they don't have the same number of total days, but we're still looking at, are they here 90% of what they were able to be here or enrolled for? And then that's a year-to-date measure. So we pulled this as of the end of December. So that we have 82.7% of our students currently here 90% or more of their days.
Can that be Yeah, sure, the answer would be yes. Can that be drilled down elementary,
Yep.
high school?
Absolutely. And I think that might be, you know, in the work I've done on this, I think there are some pieces where we might have some things that come out of this, like for example, your question, maybe that's something that I add to some of my more frequent reporting where I break down more attendance, more, you know, the achievement data is static. I have to do that. That's a kind of a statute piece, but I also could add in some of these metrics on a more specific scale. And it is, yes. I think it's
In
an
saying
important
that, Kate, then back up on that first one,
Mhm.
you don't have to move it in, but
Okay.
so the percentages there, then we're drilling down that data. The principals are able
Yep.
to take a look at that data and then work with their PLCs or grade levels.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So that's
That
part of the
really
challenge.
helps.
That's part of the challenge is what do we share at the board level is very different than what principals are using on a
Right.
daily basis in their CPR card. And it's very different than what teachers are using at their grade level meetings. But all of that work funnels up really to these data points. Wouldn't you say that?
Yep, absolutely. So we've got the student attendance rate, as a simplified term, and then our student surveys. So we're in the process of revamping our perception surveys. I have that on my to-do this week. So we typically give a staff and a family perception survey every year. And we wanted to make some changes, some of them very small, but more specific questions around a few things. And one of those being, you know, students feeling seen, valued, and heard. We've had things kind of ebb and flow over the years with our student perception. So we're adding that in that survey. Those surveys will be given this spring. In our family and community partnerships, we keep coming back to, and this was kind of a question that was asked, you know, surfaced during our strategic plan work. The question really around like, would you recommend the school district of Superior to your family, your friends, your neighbors, not only from a enrollment perspective, but an employment perspective? And so we've used that language in a couple places, or we're adding that language because it gives us some perception of what people are thinking about, you know, as a school district, whether we should, you know, their perception is we're a good employer or a good school district. And then our parent teacher conference attendance is a metric that we added, just trying to really connect with how connected are our families to the building. It's not an easy thing to always measure. We have lots of activities, we have lots of engaging things happening, but how do we put a measurement on that? So I think you see a very typical trend as we break down the building. So elementary, the majority of the elementary schools hover between 97 and 98% of families attending. And as kids get older and things change, that number reduces. And I don't necessarily think that's negative. I just think that as a metric, there are ways we communicate with families, but this is one that we picked for our family community partnerships. Our exceptional staff survey question. We had a lot of conversation around exit surveys and stay surveys. So the stay, like, why do we choose to stay here, all of us as employees? And I think that's a really great question. So Molly and I spent some time working on this last week, and I'll continue to refine this before sharing it for our staff survey this spring. But essentially being able to rank like what is keeping me here as an employee. And I think that's really helpful information for all of you. The exit survey was also revamped this fall. And so far, we have had 4 people who have left the district take the survey, and that information goes through HR. But in terms of reporting the statistics, all 4 of those people, so 100%, said they would recommend us as an employer to their family, friends, neighbors. So that is also giving us some information, not only around why am I staying, but when I leave for a variety of reasons, would I recommend our district as an employer? And then the staff survey question kind of going right along with the students as well, feeling valued as a staff member. And then finally, our 2 metrics around financial responsibility. And can you scroll down for me there? Thank you. Our open enrolled number of students who are currently open enrolled out of our district, and then our actual expenses versus budgeted goals. So we have our open enrollment numbers, and we have those, actually, that's the one area we had numbers for already this year. And that might change a little bit by year end also, if some students come back, that number could change, but we wanted to put that in there as of year to date. And then you can see the metric for our actual expenses and budgeted expenses. We had created a 4-point scale there. So our score, our metric score is a 4. So our actual expenses did not exceed the budgeted goals by, they were only within 0 to 1%. I think it was like 0.1 or something, right, Dave? Pretty impressive. He said it might not happen again, but let's celebrate that it did. So, so that's a lot of me talking and kind of explaining. But I think that we're on a really good path towards really having a nice visual and metric, some very specific metrics to measure at the board level, with way more detail coming from principals, from me, throughout the year. Any questions about anything on there?
I think I just want to reiterate that what you're saying is very broad data points here from a district board level, and what we're doing each month with principals or each week in PLCs, that data looks very different with the intent that impacts this. I just think that's really important.
And I think that's been one of the things that's always been difficult. I mean, for me, 6+ years in this role is how to take all of what we measure and all of what we're doing and give it in a streamlined visual and or report to you, because it is important to have a district perspective, but we also measure so many things that it's hard to just say, this is the one thing we're picking. So that was the work that went into this in terms of streamlining to just a few metrics in each pillar.
And knowing too, Kate, that if we ever have questions, we have the opportunity to come and meet with you, have conversation with Amy, with any of our directors in this district.
Yeah, and I think you see it from the principals every month or every meeting, the amount of work that they're doing and teachers are doing on a daily basis with classroom level data, which is really pertinent because it's in the moment.
And I guess I do want to remind folks, the metrics that are on here came from our strategic planning meeting. So you guys had brainstormed like what could be different measures that we do. And so we worked with Kate to figure out what made the most sense and what you needed.
I think, Steve, though, I was curious where you were going. Could you just increase this a little bit, Anne?
Yeah.
On the, it was in it.
Yeah, so like in the Fast Bridge Math Composite, there's 60%. That's our benchmark data right now. So when they're looking at that data, they're able to drill down in that second grade and what are the concepts, learning things that should be going on, and if we're showing that we're struggling in a certain area, can we identify that, and then what do we do as a PLC across the district to address the areas that students might be struggling in? Is that a fair?
Yeah, I mean, that data point, second grade Fast Bridge Math, isn't super helpful for a principal because that includes all of our second graders. So we have to segregate.
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
My question was, if like looking at attendance, where I thought you were going, Steve, when you asked about elementary, middle, and high school, because couldn't that number be skewed?
Oh, absolutely.
So like, that's why it's.
And I would argue it's even skewed elementary to elementary and grade level.
Mhm.
In an elementary, I think if you're in a small building and you have a few kids who have, and you're using, I think that's the hardest part with any kind of, anytime you're looking at comprehensive data point and you've got a couple kids and it can skew a percentage dramatically when the rest of the building might be at 90%. So yes, I think this is kind of giving us big picture, to Steve's point and your point also. I mean, I think.
But at times you need to look under that.
Yeah, absolutely.
To understand.
Yeah. You frequently kid by kid. All right, here's the percent, but where are we at and what are we doing about Johnny and Susie and how are we getting them to school? And Christine spoke a little about how, a small number of kids, but they're significantly missing school. So yes, I think, and I think based on those comments, that's something I can kind of give a better overview to maybe in my annual report, just giving you some more details on the attendance, because it is it's significant. And I think not only with elementary age kids, but even, I think it grows even more dramatically at the middle and high school level around absence versus tardies. You know, I spent a lot of months, not all, you were all in class when you needed to, but we talked a lot about that at the high school, like this need to be in class on time is not a shared vision necessarily for all high school kids. These two are the exception. So yes, I think more to come with attendance, and there's a huge family component, whether they're 5 years old or 17, 18 years old too, the importance of being there and being on time. So,
Thanks, Kate.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you all. Let me know if you have questions, send me an email.
Thank you very much.
Motion to accept the teaching and learning committee report. Second.
Motion a second to accept the teaching and learning committee report. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next, are there any other reports by members of our board? Just like to mention that we do have our WASB convention next week, the Wisconsin Association of School Boards Convention in Milwaukee. And I think it's always pretty darn neat that the majority, and again, all of our board members are going to be attending and taking in seminars and learning more about many facets of school board responsibilities and challenges in the state. So we look forward to that convention again.
Session tomorrow.
Two of them this week, I
Four
think.
Corners listening session, and then we have one
School.
middle school on
Thursday.
Thursday. Any other reports? Any other district or program highlights?
Just a couple
Becky?
things. First, January is School Board Recognition Month. I think it's a national recognition, whereas I think the state of Wisconsin recognizes that in the fall, but thank you for our school board. We had sent out a press release, in recent weeks that we have started a Spartan Clinic at the middle and the high school, a partnership with Essentia, to be able to, allow for space in our schools for students and staff to be able to access telehealth appointments if that's something they're interested in, so they don't have to leave the building for those. So that is a convenience that where it's new for us. There's another district in Minnesota, and I believe Maple is also implementing it as well. And then lastly, I'm excited about our new podcast. We started a new podcast for our district, interviewing different folks and trying to just another layer of transparency and getting information out. Some people appreciate that podcast format. So for those who get their information that way, hopefully it is another tool.
It's fantastic. If you haven't listened to it already, it's really good.
Next week is going to be our school forest teachers. So I want to really
Makes you hold something.
that didn't happen. Yeah.
Okay, finally, consideration of bills and pre-approved bills. Need a motion?
Nick is not here, so I will make a motion to pay the bills. I'll second
A motion and a second to pay our bills. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn tonight's meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much for being here this evening. Have a good evening.